Hi guys, and welcome to chapter 3 about ICPs. So let's break down what an ICP is. An ICP is an ideal customer profile. And this is the companies you're doing outreach to. It's not the buyer persona, it's not the decision makers, it's the company and how that company, the perfect company for your business looks. And with a clear ICP, you can sort of zero into the accounts that are more likely to vibe with your product or service. And this is not just about guessing who is my ideal customer. It's like having a secret weapon. It will level up your outreach game because it will make sure that you're talking about the right things to a company who are willing and able to buy from you. And I have 15 points to go through about what an ICP, a really good one for SDRs, should look like. So let's dive in if you're ready. So first of all, company size. Company firmographics is what we call this. So obviously SMB, small medium businesses, and enterprise are two different games. An ICP will focus on one of these. We can't do both in the same ICP because we need to fully understand the challenges, and a big company versus a small one have different challenges. We will also look at annual revenue. How much does this company turn over? What industry are they in? So let me give you an example. If I choose an ICP and I decide that banks are my ICP, then I will base all the communication around how banks operate in my outreach and also tailor it to the decision maker, which is chapter 4. So we need to pick an industry vertical, we need to understand the size of the company, and we need to understand how they buy. And number 2 in understanding this has to do with company structure. So analyzing the organizational structure of your successful clients within the ICP, example is banks again, and understand how to use that in outreach. So why do we need to understand hierarchy? How can that impact the buying cycle? And obviously the number of decision makers and all of these things has to do with the hierarchy of the company and how they make decisions. Number 3 is budget. So a company that you're selling to needs to have the money to buy from you. So there's a sweet spot here within whatever ICP you choose. That is, if they have this type of structure and they're looking to achieve this, they will have budget to buy us. Then we have number 4, authority. So this is the best way of understanding this is to talking to decision makers. Understanding roles, responsibilities, impact of decisions in the sales process. We will deep dive into that into chapter 4, but it should be part of a good ICP to fully understand the hierarchy and the authority within that business and how they conduct the sales process, basically a buying process, right? Number 5 is pain points. So what of the pain points that this business is experiencing can you fix? What are they experiencing on the market? And what pain points and challenges do they have? The best way to get into the root of that is to talk to a lot of accounts within that ICP to fully understand. See it as interviews rather than looking at it as sales calls. Number 6 is objectives. So engaging in conversations with accounts to understand the business objectives they have. You do this in the same conversation that you do about pain points. So what are they trying to achieve in the business within the ICP? Not the individual things that the decision maker wants to achieve, but what the business wants to achieve as a whole. Number 7 is buying cycle. So buying cycle is from first touch point to close deal. How long does it take and what happens and what phases do we have in that buying cycle? What stages are they going through and how can you support them as an SDR to get to a point where they want to go into the meeting with your AE? And then we have number 8, which is vendor criteria. In the example with the bank being the ICP, the banks have a lot of regulations. They have a lot of criteria to understand how they can use a vendor and if they can use a vendor at all. We will get back to that into the legal stuff, the boring stuff of doing SDR work for banks as an example. But we need to make sure that we can meet the vendor criteria that this ICP has. If we can't, then it's another discussion. Maybe we should drop this ICP and go on another one. This is a discussion you should have internally with your marketing and sales team. And then we have number 9, which is alignment. So alignment has to do with, does your proposition align with their pains, their needs, their challenges and goals of the chosen ICP? And also document what are those alignments? What are the things that they need for you to be able to sell to them efficiently? Number 10 is success stories. So using similar cases to points in when you do your outreach is super important because you show the client that you know their business. And a pro tip, again, if you're selling to banks, using a case in construction is not going to give them faith in you. So try to find a case that is specifically tailored to their industry. And then we have the 11, which is the sort of legal boring stuff. Do we reach the things that they need for them legally to proceed? When it comes to maybe you need an ISO certification, maybe you need legal things related to their country, we need to make sure that we are aligned on what we can offer that fits their needs. And then looking at number 12, we're looking at referral hotspots. So where does this customers go to find information on vendors? Typical G2 Crowd is a site where many customers go to compare software. Make sure that you're there. And you can also use that in your outreach to send over referrals. Look what our customers are saying about us. Number 13 is events. What happens in the ICP to make them more ready to have a conversation? Typically, it can be, well, they're hiring a sales manager. Now I should reach out. So that's triggers or events. Make sure you know what they are. And then number 14 is trends. Understand what's going on in the vertical. Read a lot about the ICP. Read a lot about their trends in the industry. Read trend reports, look at webinars, listen to podcasts, go to events, and get to know the industry fully. And number 15, collaborations. Other companies are selling to your ICP. Form relationships with them. I'm not talking competitors now. I'm talking to companies selling other products to the same ICP. Talk to them, form relationships, and also make sure that you have a conversation with a bunch of salespeople in that company so you can trade leads with each other. And my last tip, that isn't a step in the ICP, but more has to do with how you should conduct your work as an SDR. Stay on top of your profile. Your company will say, once the customer is handed over to an AE or an account executive, you should drop the customer and move on with your SDR work. I don't agree with that. The people that you formed a relationship with from the start, they need you to check in because you need them. So they need you to check in because that shows that you actually give a shit about what happened after you handed them over. And they also will be good ambassadors for you. When you change your company to a new company, they will come with you in your portfolio of relationships if you stay on top of them. So check in with them once a quarter, even if they have a customer success person. Make sure that you actually stay on top of the relationship because it will gain you moving forward and it will also make them feel like people that you give a shit about. So let's break it down a bit more. So if you have a department who should provide you with an ICP and they don't, who is responsible for getting you an ICP? You. It's your career, it's your outreach, it's your numbers. You are responsible. So if there is no ICP or a very, very shallow ICP in place, create your own. So what you will do is book 2 interviews at least with people in the accounts that you're trying to target and have them answer questions related to all the things I went through now. You are responsible for creating this if you're not given it from the start. So do it to learn, book the interviews, make them happen, and do it to learn. Because this is super important for your success. So I can't wait to see you in the last chapter of this module about buyer personas and decision makers. And yeah, I'll see you there. Bye, guys.